Hi everybody, it's Laura. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel. Today I have a layout that I made for this month's Stretch the Sketch. And if you're not familiar with Stretch the Sketch, it's a challenge in which we take a sketch that's intended for a 12 by 12 inch layout and we either stretch it to a larger format or shrink it to a smaller one. For quite a while now, I have been shrinking the sketch because I'm working on a 6 by 8 inch album. And I have to apologize for whatever reason my camera wasn't recording when I cut out these initial shapes. You can see that I am using the sketch as a guide. I have a large and tall rectangle on the right hand side. I layered a slightly smaller rectangle inside of the larger yellow rectangle. And then next to that, layered on top of it but slightly offset to the left, I have this really pretty pattern paper with florals on it. And then next to that, I'm going to have a smaller rectangle. You can see it on my mat now, and that is a yellow checkered paper. It's actually the other side of the floral paper. All of the papers and most of the embellishments that I use on this layout are from a very old My Mind's Eye collection called Miss Caroline, and I thought that the colors in this collection went along really nicely with the colors in my photo. And the sketch that we're using this month is by Rochelle Spears. You could check out her blog at rochellespears.blogspot.com. I gave it a look and I thought there were a lot of really great sketches and some cool challenges. I think it's worth taking a look at. This is a photo of me when I was very, very little. I'm on the left with the really short bangs. Mom, what were you thinking when you cut my bangs that short? And my dad is in the center and my sister is on the right. And I really love that little dress that I'm wearing. And like I said, I think that that little dress goes along really nicely with this collection. I mounted my photo on some green pattern paper, and then I used Distress Oxide in weathered wood, and I inked the edges of my photo mats and all of the papers that are on the layout. It was very rare for me. The layout came together so quickly. I wasn't sure if this sketch was going to lend itself well to this very small format, but I think that it ended up working out really well. When I first looked at the sketch, I wasn't so sure that I was going to be able to fit all three of those large layers on this layout, but it ended up working out. For the title, I'm using You Hold My Heart, and that was printed on one of the pattern papers. It was one of those cut apart sheets, and I thought I would round the corners. I probably should have used a corner rounder that had a slightly smaller radius, but I thought it ended up being a good idea to round the corners. It just made it look a little bit more finished. And then behind it, I'm using another piece of paper to mat it. I was going to use a darker piece of pink paper, but then I decided on this lighter paper. And then once I had layered the paper, I once again used my corner rounder and rounded the corners of the mat too. And that's a Creative Memories corner rounder. I think that's one of the first things that I ever got for scrapbooking. I described this on every Stretch the Sketch video, so I'm sorry if you've heard this before, but I'm making an album about myself based on a class I took with Janet Fritz that was called Impactful Storytelling. And so I think it's a nice idea for my daughters. Instead of making a scrapbook about them, I made a little scrapbook with some of the highlights of my own life. There were 12 prompts in this class, and this photo was chosen in response to one of the prompts, and there's journaling that goes along with the photo. And I was looking at my progress on this album, and I am kind of shocked. I've been working very slowly but steadily on this project, and I only have 3 more layouts, and then I'll have all of the layouts that I need for an album for both of my daughters, and then I have to start kind of working on the journaling. I have a lot of it done, but I don't have it edited and printed out, so that'll be the next project. To embellish the layout, I used a doily sticker. I cut part of it off and put that underneath the photo. I'm also going to use a little banner sticker. It says "So Happy Together." That's going to go right at the bottom of the photo. And I personally love to use photo corners on my layouts. I use an EK Success punch to make those. I punch them out of that same blue paper that's in the background, and I use the weathered wood once again, and I inked all of the edges of the photo corners. I'm using that same cut apart sheet that I cut the title out of to cut out this little banner that says, I love you. There was also a little sentiment that says, today, tomorrow, forever. I cut that into little pieces to kind of use as little embellishments in the lower right-hand side of the page. And I wanted them to be staggered, so I purposely started them all at a different spot on the page. I think it just makes it look a little bit more interesting. And then I don't know why I use these huge scissors to cut out the banner, but it ended up being okay. It just, I did a little bit of an overcut on the bottom part of it, but I don't think you could see it too much. And then I trimmed down each of those little words. I just thought that there was a little bit too much extra paper on the top and the bottom. And then I once again went back in with my weathered wood and I inked up all of those little embellishments. And very sadly, my father died far too young. My sister's also in this picture on the right, and she's super important to me. And I love this little saying, today, tomorrow, forever, because as long as we're around, we'll always remember my dad and the really good times we had. Here we are living in the Bronx when I was very little. When I was 5, we moved up to the New York suburbs, but I have very few but very happy memories of living in the Bronx. I didn't really have a lot of embellishments to go along with this collection, so it was a good thing that they included that cut apart sheet in the 12 by 12 inch paper pad. I always like to add things to my layouts that aren't made of paper. I always want a couple of little items that are made of a different material. I think it makes the layout look a little bit more interesting. So on this layout, I'm using pearls in 2 different colors. I put some pink pearls on each of the photo corners. I put a very tiny pink pearl on the sentiment underneath the photo. And then I put some small yellow pearls on the banner that says, I love you. And then also a very tiny one on each of those 3 sentiments. Looking at the layout, I was thinking that there was a lot of detail on the right-hand side, but I didn't have enough detail on the left-hand side. So I thought that I would use this Stampin' Up punch that's pretty detailed, kind of a delicate punch. And I punched out a little border strip to go along the left-hand side of the yellow checkered piece of paper. I considered putting pearls on this scalloped piece, but I thought it might be a little bit too much. I think I have enough pearls on the layout, so I decided to just ink the edges and attach that down. And then I was also thinking that a bow would look nice on the layout, so I tried a whole different variety of bows till I found this one. I think that this is the best one in its color and its size. And then I thought I was done with the layout, but then the next morning I was thinking that I could probably use some pink paper going all the way around the photo, just because I think that I only have pink in a couple of spots, and I think it's a prominent color on this layout, and it would be nice to make the photo look a little bit more prominent. So I cut out a mat, and I got lucky. I had just enough paper to make this mat. So after I added the mat, I attached the photo back down to where it was before. And that is the very last touch. This layout is complete, and I have just a couple of close-ups since the layout is so small. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch my channel. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to take a look in the description box so that you can access the playlist to all of the Stretch the Sketch videos. There are so many wonderful scrapbookers creating a video this month using this same sketch. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.